Talofa lava, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I am no longer on the Foreign Affairs Select Committee. That lot there booted me out. But I'm happy to make a contribution on the Border Processing Trade Single Window and Duties Bill. I recall in its first reading, the points made by my colleague, the Honourable Phil Goff, are pretty valid and still valid today, sir. When Craig Foss first introduced this bill in its first reading, there was genuine concern. We might have laughed about it in this House, but there was genuine concern given that it was Craig Foss, sir, who was responsible for the Nova Pay mess that teachers and principals, our schools, the length and breadth of this country are still having to experience the numerous botch-ups. And I understand today, sir, in the wireless, that we still, here's a quote, Nova Bay continues to fail. 350 principals remain underpaid this year. There is a high error rate of the pay cycle this year as compared with last year. And the House will recall, sir, that this government, after the Honourable Minister Craig Foss began the potch-up, that they then appointed the Honourable Stephen Joyce, well known around these corridors as Mr. Fix-It. And after being on the job for a whole year, sir, we are still nonetheless wiser of when the Nova Pay debacle is going to be fixed. So there is genuine concern, sir, despite the fact that we are supportive of this trade single window. In fact, it was under the Labour government, of the previous Labour government, which this idea of the trade single window was first discussed, and the information, as the Honourable Phil Goff has made mention, came through that. In fact, the smart gate system that John Hayes lauds as being something that Morris Williamson is credited for, did not begin with the National Party. It started under the Labour government. And so whilst we're supporting her, there are these serious concerns that we need to be assured of in this House. The Honourable Phil Goff made mention of the INSIS system, a system that was instigated with the police force under a national government. I understand it costs $100 million, but that system failed. And so the concerns we have about this government being able to manage these systems are genuine and they are real. And whilst we support our borders being protected, well-resourced, we note that under this government there's been this consistent cutting of funding. And I know at one point in time the Honourable Damien O'Connell raised the fact that this government is responsible for cutting significant staff numbers as well as money from the customs budget when they first got into government. And what we've seen under the presence of this government in the last 6 years, sir, is the PSA fungus that affected our kiwi fruits. We've seen also the fungus in our rivers. We've in more recent times, there's been a report of the fruit fly from Australia impacting on our orchards up north. So we're not making this up, is the point, Mr. Chair. That government is a government that this side of the House has serious concerns when they've got their hands on this kind of system, given the track record that they have failed with Nova Pay, they have failed with incest, and we're still seeing fungus and other diseases impacting on our orchards under their particular watch. And so the bill, sir, what this bill now does is it enables to share information between the customs, the Ministry of Primary Affairs. Now, here's a concern, sir, that still needs to be raised. The sharing of information. The sharing of information, sir, is a concern, particularly when you are talking about business and the need for keeping some of that information confidential. And if our business community do not feel the confidence about their information being made available and safeguarded by this government, I'm not sure, sir, whether this government can put hand on heart and say that that's what they'll be able to do. And so there are concerns that we want this government to be able to give assurances to this House insofar as this bill is concerned. I note, sir, that when this bill went out for consultation, that only 3 submitters made submission on the bill, but only 1 was heard by the committee. You know, our democratic system, sir, allows for, and I think we're probably the only one with a select committee process where the public are able to make submission. But I've noticed there's a stark difference. Under Labour, the opportunities for the public to participate and to air their views vigorously and robustly were made available to everyone. But I've noticed that under this government, not only have they cut short the period for public consultation, and I noticed it went out to the committee at the end of August, but they closed submissions in the middle of September. Is that one of the reasons why we only got 3 submissions? I have a concern, sir, that if the public aren't giving ample opportunity to air their views and to make submissions on this bill here, then I'm not sure whether we can fully trust this government to be making the right decisions and to get things right. And as I've said, and I hate to repeat myself for the sake of the House, but the fact that you have the Nova Bay debacle that has existed since 2011, or is it 2010? It just seems like it's existed ever since the beginning of this particular government.
Point of order, the Honourable Member Sam Basata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to help the member. The government do not determine the consultation period for the select committee of each bill determines that. Thank you, sir.
Well, it's actually a debatable motion, Mr. Lotu-Iiga.
Point of order.
Are you sure?
Point of order.
It's Thursday. The Honourable Member Sir William Seo.
I recall, sir, that in past situations where a member has gotten up and given a frivolous point of order, that they were usually kicked out of the House.
Order. No. I know it's Thursday, home time soon, and we've had our fun. I call the Honourable Member Sir William Seo.
So I'd like to repeat again, for the sake of that member who may have not listened, that what the point we're making, sir, is whilst this side of the House is supporting this bill at its second reading, there are serious concerns about their ability to be able to safeguard the information under the system that has been proposed. And given their track record with the Nova Bay, with INSIS, and with their failure at the border on some occasions, I believe, sir, that it is going to be difficult for us to proceed further unless that government can provide those particular assurances. The fact that Nova Bay has existed for quite some time, and the fact that even today the reports are saying that Nova Bay continues to fail, that there are 350 principals who remain underpaid, that the errors of their pay cycle are high compared with last year, does not give confidence to the New Zealand public that this is a government that you can trust with the information that they will gather under the trade single window. And I think, sir, the trust factor is a huge factor in the minds of New Zealanders as we go into this year's general election. I don't share the confidence of that government in their minister to be able to completely bring this about. and safely being able to protect the information that will be gathered under this trade single window. I was going to take... Thank you, sir. Is that 10 minutes or more?
I call the honourable member Stephen Browning.
I rise to speak to the border processing trade single